Good morning. My name is Jürgen Steinmetz from Livestream.travel in Honolulu, Hawaii. Today, we're honoring 16 heroes. These are heroes and members of the travel and tourism industry in various parts of the world who had contributed and are still contributing on a daily basis and ongoing basis for some time to get the travel and tourism industry back on track. Please listen to this podcast. It's a little bit long, but you hear a lot of famous people and people that really are movers and shakers in the industry. Some are known and some may not be known at all. You can also become a hero or nominate a hero. Just go to safertourismseal.com and take a look at the program. Enjoy. Perfect. Good morning, everybody, and aloha from Hawaii. My name is Jürgen Steinmetz, and I would like to welcome you on behalf of Rebuilding.travel. The video we just showed was sent to us by whoever. She is the CEO and president of the World Travel and Tourism Council in London, and she wanted us to see this video with her greetings for World Tourism Day. I'd like to, before we start, introduce my partner from Rebuilding.travel, Dr. Peter Talo. Peter, good morning.
Good afternoon from Texas, and good evening, good morning, good afternoon to everybody around the world. Happy Tourism Day.
And thank you, Peter. And I also like to introduce our co-chair for the event, who has been with us from the very beginning, and we will mention him in a different content a little bit later also, but I'd like to say hello and to Dr. Taleb Rifai, who's joining us from Dubai. And I think you have a very special reason to be in Dubai and not in Amman today.
Very true. I'm a proud grandfather now. Thank you so much, Jürgen. Thank you so much.
Thank you for attending, everybody. Just for housekeeping, very easy. We always keep our events very open, and you have a chance to ask questions, to interfere. However, this event is kind of packed, so we have a little bit less time than we usually do. But if you do have anything you wanted to add, it's very simple. Just raise your hand. It's when you click on chat or click on participants, there's a blue hand I think you can raise, and we will see this and give you the microphone. Otherwise, please keep yourself muted if you're not speaking. And this is only so everyone else is not hearing your background noise. So without further ado, I wanted to welcome everyone again who's here on the Sunday morning or Sunday evening. And as you all know, it's a very special day. It's a World Tourism Day. And I think World Tourism Day, the best person able to explain this to us, if I may come back to Taleb real quick, is Taleb Rifai, because he was the Secretary General for the UNWTO, and this was really an event started by the World Tourism Organization. Taleb, maybe you can give us just a minute on the background of World Tourism Day. What are we celebrating?
Thank you so much. We're celebrating the United Nations World Tourism Day. 27th of September is the day that UNWTO was established as a UN organization, way in 1970 something, 73 or 74. But when I was Secretary General, we declared it as a UN Day. It's the day to celebrate all of tourism, what represents in the world of today. As the video has just said, tourism is not just an economic powerhouse. It's a lifestyle nowadays. It's not just for the elite or for a small number of people. It's people meeting each other, rubbing shoulders, creating a different and a better world. That's what World Tourism Day is all about. Thank you so much, Jürgen.
Thank you, Peter. Taleb, I'm sorry. I wanted to go to Peter, and we wanted to explain an initiative, what it started and what is part of our event today, because we're going to do this a little bit different. Obviously, everyone knows we're not going through normal times right now. These are very special times. These are very challenging times for everyone in the world, and no one is exempt here. And and tourism is probably, in the COVID crisis, the main victim here, the tourism and the millions of jobs that are at stake and the pressing question: how can we reopen tourism safely? And if we cannot do it safely, should we do it anyway, or should we not do it? And this is kind of really what our rebuilding.travel discussion has been about. And we're trying to make this a little bit more specific as times comes, and get people from different parts of the world together to have maybe different discussions where we can come to conclusions. Right now, I'm very proud to say we welcomed the 119th country, what was Bahrain, into our family of rebuilding.travel. So that's quite enormous for an initiative we only started as a grassroots conversation. So thank you, everyone, one of you who's part of this discussion. And if you're not part of this discussion, simply go to rebuilding.travel, www.rebuilding.travel. You can sign up. There is no charge. Part of the rebuilding.travel concept and project is a very new concept. It's the Safer Tourism Seal. Safer Tourism Seal is an initiative started by rebuilding.travel to recognize those that follow instructions and those that are committed to make tourism a safe exercise and a responsible exercise. It's in no way meant as a license, as a guarantee, but it's a recognition, and there are three different levels to this recognition. There is the self-assessment anyone can sign up to with a reasonable explanation why they think they do everything they can to be in this initiative, and there's no charge for it. So you can easily sign up at rebuilding.travel and give us your information and provide a sentence on what you're doing. We also have the evaluation. So if you look, and I'd like to congratulate Uganda, just recently completed the evaluation and the endorsement, and that is a lot of work. We have actually, Dr. Tarlo has been doing this, and he can tell us a little bit more how this process works in a few minutes. But with Uganda, we went really all out. And Uganda, I'm very happy to say, is now in the club of evaluated and endorsed destination in under the seal. And the last part of the seal is something we started to recognize all these people that are working tirelessly in our environment to keep tourism alive and make tourism better and safer. They don't have to be ministers, they don't have to be chairmen or CEOs, but many of them are, and that's how we actually started. But they can be ordinary people that can be tour guides, for example, and we will introduce a tour guide to you who is a little bit more than ordinary because she also is an ambassador of a large organization in Washington, D.C., but people who deserve to be recognized. So we started the International Hall of Tourism Heroes. And we now have 17 people in the International Hall of Tourism Heroes from all kinds of life and from different destinations and backgrounds. And so we're hoping to increase this. Anyone who wanted to be nominated for the International Hall for Tourism Heroes, you can do this also online. We need 2 nominations to consider. And we're forming also a team of jurors, because this is not anything just the few of us can do alone. So we can make this progress a little bit more also transparent. We can put a vote in it within the rebuilding.travel network and make it really something very special. And today we actually wanted to recognize all those that are in the Hall of Heroes, and we will name them. But Peter, give us your part. How was this evaluation, and maybe summarize your how the International Hall of Tourism Heroes and the recognition.
So we have lots going on today, so I'm not going to speak as long as I might like to, but I think there are 2 parts that are really important. What Uganda went through, which was not just awarding a certificate, but rather it was a true study. So they prepared, first of all, they had an hour chat with me, what they saw, some of their problems, some of their issues, some of the good things, et cetera, et cetera. I then sent them a survey of about 17 short essays that they wrote for me. And then we had a second conversation in which we talked about each of those essays. So in other words, there were two oral sessions and one written session. And it was at that point that they showed that they understood there's never anything such as safe tourism. That doesn't exist. What does exist is that we're constantly working to make our tourism product safer. And if we're able to do that, then that's a major success. Now, of course, each country or each location is going to have different issues and different problems. So if you are a beach country, we're going to spend a lot of time talking about aquatic security. On the other hand, if you are a country filled with lots of mountains or hiking, we're going to have a very different type of area. It's not only the issue of COVID, which of course touches the entire world, but it's also how safe are your hotels? How well are you doing as far as training police? What are you doing as far as making signage clear to someone who doesn't speak the local language? So safer tourism is a way for you to begin to do not only a self-assessment, but really have a good analysis of what is needed in your country, where we might need to work in the future, and on the other hand, where you can be proud and build on those strengths. So it's correcting weaknesses and building on strengths. Now, the second part, and again, I'm not going to speak long, is we've created this International Hall of Tourism Heroes. One of the big problems is that people often work tirelessly. The top levels of society often get recognized, but there are lots of other people around the world, and without those people, tourism wouldn't exist. Those are the people come in every day. They work, maybe they're supposed to work 40 hours a week, but they work 80 hours a week, rarely get recognized. And what we wanted to do is create a world in which we're able to not only recognize the top leaders of tourism, who certainly are heroes, but also the people who rarely get recognition. And so if you have a name of someone that you think is good, I just sent out, and I will send it out again, send me an email and or write to Jürgen. We will go over those names. We need to have at least 2 recommendations. And then we will consider that person's application as to be put into an international Hall of Tourism Heroes. And that person, when we see it, will be known around the world as someone who really goes beyond the pale in order to create a world of tourism. And in this year, which has been such a difficult year, a year of which we've truly been challenged, to have those types of heroes is probably the most important thing that we can do. So we're looking forward to working with all of you. In reality, everyone's a hero, but we need to recognize as many people as we can and let them know tourism cares. All too often, I think we ask a lot, we don't always think a lot. And so we need to, as part of the hospitality industry, remember to build each other up and let people know that we care.
Thank you, Peter. And that is, you can see how fast we work. You know, we really, Peter is an amazing guy. And we worked really hard on this, and he specifically worked really hard on this project. But we do have a form actually online. You don't really have to write to Peter and myself or to anyone else. It's on rebuilding. I'm sorry, it's on safertourismseal.com, safertourismseal.com. Just click on the apply button, and one of the options is the nomination of a hero, and we will see this and then take it from there. What I like to do, we had planned a very special guest today from Jamaica, and this is a true hero in the travel and tourism industry even before COVID started. And it started kind of really with the hurricane situation in the Caribbean. This gentleman co-launched the Global Tourism Resilience and Crisis Center, and he's a minister. He's also head of the executive chair, I believe, for the Americas, and he would have loved to be with us today. But he had a last minute commitment. You know how this is when you're in politics and when you're a minister, you cannot always plan your day in advance. However, he did send us a video, and he did send Professor Lloyd Waller from Jamaica. And the person I'm talking about, I think you all know, is the Honorable Minister Edmund Bartlett. So before we say hello to Lloyd and then officially also represent the Hero Award to Minister Bartlett, I'd like to play a video he sent us. Thank you very much, and I'd like to give the microphone to Professor Lloyd, who works with Minister Bartlett and is representing him here. Lloyd, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you quite well. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
No, unfortunately, I have to apologize to Minister. As you know, today is a very special day, and the Minister has 18 activities today, and therefore he couldn't make it to this particular one. But I'm just here representing him in any particular way that's necessary. And thanks for having me, Jürgen.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate you here. Maybe since we have you here, you work with the minister, and I think you're actually the chair of the Global Resilient and Crisis Management Center. I'm trying to find you here on the screen so we can put your picture up. Oh, here you, there you go. Maybe you could tell us a few words about what you're doing and what your function is, and I think Minister Bartlett position in this initiative.
Well, Minister Bartlett and Dr. Rafai are both co-chairs. I'm actually the executive director for the Global Tourism Resilience and Crisis Management Center, which is a global center which is headquartered in Jamaica but has offices in Kenya, Malta, Nepal, and we're still expanding. But we're essentially a center that focuses a think tank as well as a policy development center that deals with tourism resilience, looking specifically at various aspects of tourism resilience, notably pandemic related issues, climate change, climate action related issues, security and cybersecurity issues, and also entrepreneurial issues as it relates to tourism resilience. The latter has a lot to do with how do we ensure that our entrepreneurs or persons who are working in the tourism space are resilient and can bounce back from a particular crisis. As you can imagine now, having to deal with the coronavirus pandemic, we've been involved in a number of activities specific to or ranging from raising awareness about various aspects of the pandemic. We had done a global study back in April, and we had just in April and May just to identify what are the main challenges or concerns that persons in the tourism space had. And part of what we found was that they were bombarded with a lot of information, but they were not clear as to what information is the correct information. So part of what other initiatives that we had was to know the facts, where we, through social media as well as direct engagement, try to ensure that we positioned ourselves as the kind of epicenter of factual information about various aspects of the coronavirus. So that was one initiative. We've also been involved in a number of thought leadership related initiatives. We're having seminars, webinars, as well as articles just to talk about what is happening so we can help people to make sense of the current tourist environment, the current new norm that we're dealing with. So we have awareness, we have thought leadership, but we are also working with projects, and we have a number of projects in the Caribbean that we have started, largely trying to get an understanding of how persons in the tourism field themselves, how they're coping, how vulnerable they are, what their level of resilience, what resilient related strategies that they've employed, as well as what are their visions or views about the future and what we need to do to get tourism back on track. So those are the three major initiatives that we've been involved in, plus a number of partnerships with various entities and task force that we've been involved in as it relates to how do we safely reopen the tourism sector itself, as well as health-related concerns, looking at tools such as testing, and also looking at issues such as the efficacy of vaccine or therapeutics as well. So it's a range of activities that we've been involved in since the pandemic has started to try to see how best we could play our part in trying to restart or get the industry back up and running to its previous glory.
Thank you very much, Professor Lloyd. And from what I know, to conclude this, your centers are not only in Jamaica right now; they are also in other parts of the world, right?
Yes, yes. So we have a center that we're opening up in Kenya. We have a center that we're working on establishing in Nepal, Malta, Japan. Um, Professor Dr. Rafai, we're talking to Malta, Oman as well. And we're about to start negotiations with Belize about a Central America representation.
Thank you very much for attending, and congratulations to the minister for being an important part of our Hall of International Tourism Heroes. Before we continue introducing, we have a lot of our tourism heroes actually on this forum. Not a lot, but we have probably half of them are here. I'd like to go from from Jamaica to Jordan, and introduce you to a short presentation and introduction what is going on in Jordan during this pandemic. All know that Dr. Taleb Rifai's home country is Jordan, and so is a frequent guest on our event for Rebuilding.Travel from the very beginning, Mona Nafa. As far as I know, Mona, you represent Expedia Travel in Jordan, but you're involved in a lot of other initiatives. Welcome, Mona.
Thank you. Thank you very much. My Expedia days are kind of winding down, being that the OTAs are awfully quiet. We are in the hotel business, and I am an Arab American. So what's very important to me is to showcase Jordan to the Americas and other communities all over the world. So I'm in a position where I can do that. And I've got a lot of great friends with me and team members, if I may. So our story here in Jordan, and before I get to that, I really want to say thank you to Jurgen and eTurbo News, who's a great friend of Jordan. Jurgen, you've been supporting my initiatives, from our Guinness World Record peace sign at the Dead Sea to everything that comes out of Jordan. Jurgen and eTurbo News has been there, so we are very grateful. So during COVID, Jordan stopped, tourism stopped, our borders and our airports were closed, and tourism is a vital force, is a vital sector here, employing thousands. We've talked about this over and over since we started on these webinars. But sitting here in Jordan, I said to myself, we cannot just sit here and do nothing. We have to still showcase Jordan. How are we going to showcase Jordan a little bit different than the other virtual films going on worldwide? We have to show Jordan through the eyes of a tour guide. A tour guide is so important, often forgotten, but always remembered by every traveler, because that tour guide, he or she, is the most impactful person that that traveler is going to take home with him or her during his experience in a country. So a tour guide is the boots on the ground, if I may, eyes and ears of the country, and really the voice of the destination. So my team and I, we were supported by an insurance company. We're very grateful to IGI, who really helped us out. We created a video called Jordan Through the Eyes of a Guide. This video went viral, where US tour guides got in touch with me wanting to know all about Jordan. Who is this tour guide? Our tour guide, his name is Issam. He could be on the call. I hope he is. But my role here is to introduce our Jordan tourism president, Mr. Rad Abdel Haq, and Ms. Marakar Donata, the global brand ambassador and international trainer. She's based out of Washington, D.C. The objective of me bringing these two fantastic people together is to bridge cultures through tourism, is the tour guides to share best practices, any success stories that they can share to the world. Let's not forget the important role of a tour guide. We here in Jordan, we have over 1,300 currently not working, plus thousands more here in Jordan during this pandemic who are hoping for a better 2021. So if I may, if we could unmute Mr. Raed and Ms. Marakar from Washington, D.C.
Yeah, just you have to unmute yourself and just go ahead. There he is. Okay. Welcome.
Hello. Hello. Good evening here. It's nighttime now in Jordan. It's almost 11 o'clock, so time difference. Thank you very much, Mrs. Muna. Thank you very much for the introduction, and I'm very glad and happy to be here. Maybe it's difficult times now, but we are working on it. These difficult times of COVID-19 has opened our eyes on other things, other kinds of tourism that we should tackle in the future, maybe. So tour guides in Jordan, maybe 90% of them work the regular old-fashioned way, and 10% are available online, and they in a direct contact with the visitors. Now, tour guides in Jordan are going towards online to find jobs maybe in the near future, since most of the coming back travelers will be individual travelers, and will be people looking for beach resort here and there and try rent a car, go around the country. So to get in touch with these people, you have to be online. So this is a good thing that tour guides are aware of now. And I have to mention that our government has helped in introducing local tourism. So that's a new thing for us. We as tour guides, we've never worked on local tourism, but this has been encouraged by our government, and Jordanians are traveling vastly throughout the country. So this is a new thing for us that we're going to tackle in the future. So this is how we're handling things here in Jordan now, and this is an eye-opening for what we should concentrate on in the near future, hopefully. Any question, Mr. Jorgen?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Maybe what we can do, and we know how important tour guides are, and actually we have a tour guide we like to honor with the Hero Award after the Jordan part of this presentation. And we all know how important this is. I've traveled to your beautiful country, to Petra, and I know you couldn't find your way around it without tour guides. Tour guides are really essential to explore a country like Jordan and many other countries in the world. Thank you so much for staying up that late.
Thank you.
And being part of our event. I give it back to Mona.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Rod. That's great to know. It is very important that our tour guides and our sector are digitalizing. This is the nice photo. This is the way of the future in tourism and travel. So us being progressive and ahead of the curve, that's a great place for Jordan to be. I would love for Marakar to come on board and to talk about U.S. Tour guides, what's going on with them in the United States. So Marakar Donata?
Yeah, also, if I can just come in there just 1 second. Actually, Maricia, and I have a hard time pronouncing your name. Not that you're a complicated person, you're a very easy person. You're always right there, you respond within seconds. But Maricia is actually one of the tourism heroes we like to celebrate today. And I know her when she helped a friend and a lady from Cameroon who was stranded in Washington, D.C. during the beginning in the Corona crisis. And without knowing the lady, without making money or dime on this, it wasn't a client, she single-handed took the initiative and made sure this lady had a home. She found an American Cameroon family where Francois was able to live. She communicated with the embassies to get her home eventually. And there is an incredible story. We reported about it at eTurbo News. At one point, Francois made it all the way to Frankfurt, and then German immigration didn't let her back. So again, Marcia and her team got busy, talked to the American embassy, and got an exception for her to travel back to the United States and wait out the time there. Incredible lady. Welcome and congratulations, Marcia, for being a tourism hero at the same time.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Mona. And happy World Tourism Day to all. This is so close and dear to my heart. And just wanted to acknowledge Mona's question about tourism, the guiding in the US. Well, it's of course zero guiding. We haven't had any tours since March of 2020. But now slowly, we are like, a couple of days ago, I had some guests from Texas. So it's small groups that are coming, very small groups, 2 people, family groups, slowly trickling in because we're still in a very, pandemic zone. And so we are practicing a lot of the safety guidelines, the protocols, safety and health protocols, like the mask, the disinfectant, washing of the hands. Everybody has a screen on the coach. We have a minibus, so there's a whole plastic covering. So we're practicing all of that. And we are training guides also to conduct those health and safety protocols before the guests arrive. Okay, but normally it's zero tourism, hopefully slowly building up to 2021, we hope.
I believe, Marika, we know each other. We've been corresponding and we work together at George Washington University. I
Yes.
think you're in Washington, D.C., if I'm not mistaken. And of course, the United States is a very big place. So I'm glad that some of my fellow Texans got to see you and created the area. What you're pointing out, though, is the importance to wait just international tourism. We also need to have domestic tourism. So I congratulate you. Tour guides are really important.
Very important. Yes, sir. Dr. Tallo. But overall, we are still hopeful. We're also receiving some subsidy from the government. So we're getting little money, like stimulus check and weekly little checks for food, but hanging in there and doing all these webinars and getting retrained, retooled into a post-COVID world. With all these health and safety protocols, we're developing little contracts for the guests to sign before they arrive to make sure they're masked at all times because it is required. The park service, when we guide, everybody's checking on masking. Everybody has to be masked at all the memorials. They're very strict on that here. So we're trying to follow all these health protocols to keep us all safe. So, and I really appreciate Mona for inviting me in this platform. And, hopefully we can come to Jordan. I haven't been to Jordan yet. We would love to bring some American guides to Jordan.
You're most welcome. We'll be very happy to host you here in Jordan and take you around as the Jordan Association. Don't worry about that. You just come here. All right, thank you.
Very gracious.
Anytime.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you very much, Mona, for putting this group together. And
my pleasure. And if I may, I just wanted to say that COVID has brought a lot of us together. So continue on with sharing the countries with fellow friends in the tourism space. This will be over. Our worlds will be closer, and here in Jordan, we build bridges and share different cultures. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. And I'd like to, without further ado, we're running behind time. I'd like to just, if it's okay, continue mentioning our tourism heroes, and some of them recognizing if they're here. If I overlook anyone, it's a little bit hard sometimes to see who's actually attending, who's not attending. Just interrupt me, please, and we'll give you the microphone. I'd like to welcome, and I talked to her last night, and it's now 4:40 in the morning, so I didn't expect her to be here. But she's a true tourism hero, and we like to especially recognize Ambassador Do Young Shim from the Republic of Korea, also known as South Korea. Ambassador Do Shing is the chairperson of the UN World Tourism Organization Sustainable Tourism for Eliminating Poverty Foundation. She has been in the tourism industry and has been in tourism leadership on the governmental level for many years. And she is a person sometimes you don't hear very much about, but she works wonders behind the scene. And I wanted to thank Ambassador Do for her input and her influence on what is happening in the global tourism industry. She's a true leader, and she is discreet, and she works her own style. There is an Ambassador Do style to everything. I also like to mention and another true tourism ambassador and hero who is not with us because he has a good excuse. He's running for president of his country. And that's Alain Saint-Ange from the Seychelles. He's been on this event several times. I did talk to Alain earlier, and he relates his greetings and is in the middle of the election. I think the uh, election day is October 7th in just a short week or two. So we wish him all the best and hope he become the next president. That would give us a head of state on the Rebuilding Travel network. But whoever becomes the next president in the Seychelles, we love to work with the Seychelles, and we featured the Seychelles before. Wonderful place and so important for tourism. I also like to recognize and to the Tourism Hero Club Diana McIntyre. She's also from Jamaica, and she runs the Country Style Community Tourism Network in Jamaica. She was nominated by several people to become a hero, and I emailed her, and we just really added her yesterday, so she may have not known that we're honoring her today. I'm sure otherwise she is all over the place all the time. She would be with us. So we'll share this video, and we share this, of course, with everyone, and we're going to share it with the world, with podcasts, and throughout the ETN network, and on Facebook, and so forth. Who is here, I just saw, is Alexandra, and you have a very complicated last name for a German to pronounce, but Gardasevic Siavuia. I'm so sorry, I probably pronounced this completely wrong. She's
Don't
joining us
worry.
actually right now from Montenegro, and I think she can probably explain a lot better what she's doing. She has been amazing, attending every single event for Rebuilding Travel. She's now our representative in Montenegro, has been pushing Rebuilding Travel, and she can tell us more. And I found out she's also the honorable consul for the Seychelles in Montenegro. Welcome and congratulations, Alexandra.
Thank you. Thank you, Jürgen. Thank you, Rebuilding Travel. Thank you, everybody. I'm really honored and privileged to receive this great award. I've never been a hero in my life, so now I can pretend to be a celebrity for a while, I guess. So, true. I'm trying.
And you are our hero.
Yeah, thank you. And you are my heroes as well. So I'm trying to make a difference in tourism, as we all do, but sometimes it looks like a mission impossible when you are trying to do things in Balkan, where there are so many crises going on for ages, and then on top of everything, you have Corona and political crisis at the same time. So it's kind of a disaster. It's not an easy situation, but at the same time, it's very challenging and motivating for me. And I really hope for the best. And I'm trying my best to convince people in Montenegro that we should implement formula of resilience and to build and to promote Montenegro as a resilient, Corona resilient state. I would also like to admit, and I have to mention this, that I've learned so much from you guys. And whenever I have contact with Rebuilding Travel experts, I always gain some extra knowledge, extra experience, and I'm so grateful for that. So your approach of sharing information is actually so unselfish and so helpful for all of us, I think. So I would say at the end, not to take your time anymore, that this tourism hero is not about 17 of us or me or anybody. I think it's about all of us, because we are all in this tourism story, and we are heroes. We are all heroes of today's tourism situation. So thank you again, and I would like to wish Happy Tourism Day to all of you, hoping that next time we'll see each other in person. And I propose Hawaii as our next destination. And Jürgen, I think you should book the venue for us for the next 27th of September, if you agree.
I would be happy to do that, and
Okay.
maybe we can share between Montenegro and Hawaii, two great
It's
destinations.
okay. Yeah. Okay. I agree. You are welcome.
Our next hero, and when I just looked, I really couldn't believe that he's with us here, and that shows an extra commitment, because where he is, it's 4 in the morning right now, and we're on there now for an hour. That means he got up at 3 in the morning, or didn't even go to sleep at 3 in the morning. He's a true player in the aviation industry, and I know him from the time when he was on the top of the ladder as a VP for Etihad Airways in Dubai, in Abu Dhabi, I'm sorry, and he has been given his expert opinion at some of our sessions, and everyone loved it. He always makes the headlines. He's based in Singapore now, originally from Mauritius. And congratulations and welcome, VJ. And I also have a hard time with your last name, Poono Osami, I believe. You probably can help me how to pronounce it, and I'll learn it. Thank you so much for joining us so early in the morning. Oh, I hope we didn't lose him.
Oh, I'm here.
There he is. Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Jürgen. And thank you for your warm words. I'm really most humble and touched and actually honored to have been inducted on this World Tourism Day to the Safer Tourism Hall of International Tourism Heroes. See, as the WTTC video reminded us just now, travel is world changing. So to me, travel and tourism professionals must draw from its formidable track record to rise to the unprecedented challenges of this fast changing world. See, the COVID-19 has clipped the wings of the airlines and locked down tourism. So we cannot, and indeed must not, simply wait or hope for a return to the pre-COVID world. We must wake up to the fact that this is the time for new mindsets, to find new solutions for the new normal. And all travel and tourism stakeholders, including the eminent ones who are on this call, must urgently reimagine a purposeful travel and tourism nationally and internationally. We must work intelligently and effectively with governments, businesses, and civil society to develop a safer, sustainable, caring, ethical, and viable travel and tourism sector, which we can all be proud of. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vijay. And again, thanks for always your good contribution, feedback. And I hope you can get a little bit of sleep. I'm sorry, someone is calling me. and you enjoy Singapore and stay healthy. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vijay. Hang up.
I'd like to go and introduce another good friend of mine. We became good friends over the years, and he's a true icon of the travel and tourism industry. He was one of the longest serving ministers. I always told him at the time, and this was in no way meant to be a judgment, he is the minister of the wrong country. But he's an amazing guy, has moved mountains for his country, for his people, for tourism, and for Africa. And I'd like to congratulate and especially welcome my good friend Dr. Walter Memzebi from Zimbabwe. He's joining us from South Africa right now. Welcome.
Thank you, Eugen. Thank you, Rebuilding.travel and all the stakeholders behind it. This has been an opportunity, I think, for redesigning, remodeling the travel and tourism sector. Beginning in 1950, there were only 2 million travelers in the world, rising to 1.5 billion travelers by year 2019. And no sector in the world has challenged this exponential growth that the tourism and travel sector was demonstrating in the few years before us. And it could only take a natural check and balance like COVID-19 to bring this exponential growth to a halt. And that's how nature works. And I think it works in such a manner that it also wakes us up to the reality of remodeling and redesigning the sector and ushering it on a completely different direction. We knew of terms by 2019 of over-tourism. Our sector was already being targeted even by terrorism because it had grown so much and basically exposed itself by its own growth. But today we don't talk even under tourism, we talk no tourism at all. But it is an opportunity mainly for national economies to make their products, their tourism products more intimate with their local populations. And we are beginning to talk about domestic tourism, regional tourism, cost items that were never spoken about because we were all focused on export earnings, a sector that had grown to about 28% of global export earnings in the service sector. But now we are talking and caring more about our own indigenous populations because the reality is that any recovery of tourism at national scale will start with domestic tourism going to regional and on to international. And I think it has brought us back to connect more with our own populations. So these are some of the positives, and we should always see and look positive. And I invite you to Africa because that's where, as Jamaica has already shared with us, we are being redesigned towards the green economy, and Africa is host to that biodiversity, which will offer the product that we are looking for. Thank you very much for this honor, and happy World Tourism Day.
Thank you very much, Walter, and keep on going the way you do, and all the best. There's a lot to do in Africa, and if anyone can do it, it's you and the other capable people in the African Tourism Board. You also help out with Project Hope. I'd like to introduce no one other than the chairman of the African Tourism Board, who is joining us from Pretoria tonight. You all know African Tourism Board also initially was invented on a platform like this with the input of eTurbo News, and started with a kind of a out of the box idea and developed now into a huge organization with so many different committees involved in so many different countries and so many different projects. And who's holding it all together is Mr. Katmet Nikube, who really deserves to be on our in our Hall of Heroes. Welcome, Cuthbert, and thanks for being part of our initiative so many times already, and for always being there.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jürgen, Dr. Peter, and the Build.travel team, colleagues, as we are embroiled on the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Ladies and gentlemen, we have closed our eyes on the visible man-created pandemic that has created havoc and devastation in our world of tourism. As we celebrate the World Tourism Day, putting more emphasis and focus on rural development, we have turned a blind eye on the environmental catastrophes We are hard pressed at all four quarters of our globe, and the most affected are our rural folks. We need to be aware of global warming, its effects and implications, and therefore our thinking should be underguided by our approaches and activities, since all mankind is affected by our present circumstances. It is therefore time to cease to be indifferent. It is time to cease to be exclusive. It is time to be all inclusive and purely holistic in our approach to the daunting challenges ahead of us. Therefore, a dire need for us to start rethinking globally and act locally is overdue. As we celebrate the World Tourism Day, the emphasis being on leveraging tourism for rural development. The drive to enhance development should be done across the globe. May I therefore hasten to say Africa should not be a recovery plan, but rather a fair player and equal partner within the tourism space. It is my humblest as I acknowledge and receive this cognizance. May I plead and proclaim that each and every African Tourism Board member who has worked tirelessly and contributed to this organization, you are all heroes. This belongs to each and every one of you. On your behalf, allow me to accept with humility. Thank you so much, Jürgen.
Thank you very much, Cuthbert. And I'd like to just recognize two other hero members from Africa, and all of them are involved in your organization in the African Tourism Board, but weren't able to be with us here today. One is Peter Byron from Tanzania. He's head of Mafia Island in Tanzania. We had him on a show. He developed an entire 67-page blue plan on how to reopen and what to do and how to keep Tanzania safe. Amazing guy with a vision. We had him on a 1-hour event at rebuilding.travel before, and congratulations. We also had on a separate event before, and he sends us regards, the Honorable Secretary of Tourism, Najib Balala from Kenya. His country is one of the true leaders in Africa when it comes to safety, wildlife, and recognizing this global industry. And under the leadership of Najib Balala, Kenya has become also a true leader in Africa when it comes to reopening and setting standards and policies on how to reopen the travel and tourism industry. Also like to mention Tom Jenkins. He was on our show just about a week ago for 1 hour. Tom is one of our heroes, and he accepted his nomination at our last event. He is the CEO of the European Tour Operator Association, ETOA, and we had him on rebuilding.travel twice, one after COVID just hit the UK and just recently, and he has been working tirelessly every day in responding to this crisis in Europe, and he has been talking and communicating with anyone and everyone in the world to save and contribute to the future well-being of the European travel industry. Congratulations. Talking about environment, I like to recognize who's also not with us today because of other commitment, but we also had him on an event before. It's Professor Jeffrey Lipman. Jeffrey is a good friend we worked with for now 20 years. He's also the president of the International Coalition of Tourism Partners, where I'm the chairman of, and he is a true environmental expert. So everything he does is to remind us about the responsibility we have to Mother Earth and to promoting green and green growth and travelism, what he calls. And he's involved in the SunX program in Malta and he's based in Belgium. I also like to welcome, I saw her earlier, and I think she left, and she probably left because she runs one of the biggest, or probably the largest taxi company here in Honolulu, Hawaii. Her name is Dale Evans, and I know running a taxi is a 24-hour job. And I wanted to congratulate her for being added to the tourism hero. As you know, our industry, travel industry here in Hawaii is, as many industries in many areas in the world, tourism dependent. Dale, even before COVID broke out, always has done a little bit more than anyone else. She's actually the first taxi company where she puts in place a simulator for taxi drivers to be trained before they get out on the road. Any of her taxis are vans. They are so clean. You can eat from the floor, and taxi drivers are trained. She has flat rates, so there is no cheating, no detours. And she's been in this business for almost 60 years and still running this company very efficiently, and a true hero, not only here in Hawaii, but also a good example for the taxi and transportation industry worldwide. I will keep the two best I kept to the very last to mention. We have, of course, we're going to recognize Taleb Rifai at the end. He always has the closing word, so I don't want to change this, but I like to really introduce a very good friend of mine. I have worked with for many years, and he was introduced to me at a radio show from Travel Talk Radio. And if I'm not mistaken, Cindy Dorweder, who runs Travel Talk Radio, was on our event in the beginning. She may have left. I don't find her, but Cindy, if you're here, feel free to.
She should still be here, I think.
No, I'm looking through my thing. Maybe she followed up, but if she comes back,
She's there.
Cindy, are you there?
Sandy.
Just unmute, Cindy.
I don't, maybe, hang on.
Hi, Thomas, I am here.
Yes, okay, there's Sandy. Okay, I was trying to find you. It is so nice to see you. And
nice to see you too.
And I hope you're doing well. You're into different ventures these days. I understand you're into country music now.
Well, you know, we took our Travel Talk Radio, Building Bridges with Travel, and I've always been a musician. So we decided to build bridges with music, and Mona and I do much together. We have come to play in Jordan, and now we are doing online programming on Twitch, twitch.tv. So we're building bridges that way with our music. We have people from all over the world coming in to hear, and until this COVID is addressed, we'll have to stay doing this, but we're building this wonderful network of communities around the world. I'm also the director of a one-day 8,000 people attend music festival up here in Michigan. So I have really started devoting my time to performing and doing my music, which I've been doing since I was 6 years old. So I went back to my roots.
Wonderful. It's really good to see you, Cindy. And when I saw you and I saw Louis D'Amour, who we really want to honor, I had to get you on here by surprise. Thanks for joining
we love
us.
Louis.
And I hope you're going to play a major role in rebuilding your travel from now on. Welcome.
Absolutely. I'll be here for sure. Thank you, Thomas.
Perfect.
And
Thank
Louis,
you.
love you, Dr. Peter Tarlow, everybody.
Oh, it's so nice to see you again, Sandy.
It sure is, Louis.
Louis D'Amour has been an icon in the travel and tourism industry, and he represents everything what is good in the industry. I remember when he was on stage way back with Israel and Palestine shaking hands at his event for Peace Through Tourism. I think it was in Geneva. I met him on a radio show, on a local radio show, I have to admit first, and then on Sandy's radio show, Travel Talk Radio. And Louis is someone who has put an initiative together like no one else in this world. And his message is peace through tourism. Louis, we like to recognize you. We like to welcome to the Hall of Heroes. And this is a lifetime achievement. So we like to invent the lifetime Hall of Heroes award for you. And thank you so much what you're doing for the industry. And tell us a little bit more about you, how you're doing, and what's in with Peace Through Tourism.
Thomas, thank you very much for this honor. And hello, everyone, Sandy and everyone else. It's a great honor to be here with all of you, Cuthbert, Walter Mzembe, Alain St. Ange, Mona Nafta, and all the others. Mona, you mentioned that you're Arab American, and I'd just like to mention that another Arab American who was very special to IIPT was Queen Noor. Queen Noor was the honorary chair of our second global conference, which gave a lot of emphasis to sustainable development. Actually, the World Bank called us and said, this is the kind of tourism that we want to promote. And we had one of the World Bank executives as a keynote speaker. And the World Bank got back into tourism after many years of being absent from it. And also, I'd like to mention Queen Noor had me as her guest in Jordan the year following the Montreal conference, which was 1995. And it was a very, very special trip. And during the trip, some of you might recognize a special lodging development that had just come into place, Taibat Zaman. It was truly exemplary, a model of government private sector collaboration. They took an old village that was deserted and they turned it into a five-star tourism resort, hiring all the former residents of the village to build a resort, and then following that, train them to manage the resort. And this was back in the time when there was only one major tourism award. It was the British Airways Tourism for Tomorrow Awards. So I nominated Taibat Zaman. It won the regional award and the global award. That was something that I feel very good about. We're intending to have one more global summit, Thomas, and that was to be in 2017. Unfortunately, it didn't happen for various reasons, and we've been planning since then one more global summit in Africa, and that hasn't happened because of the coronavirus situation. But we continue to be active with our website. One of our members, Fabio Carbone, has instituted a course on peace through tourism, an online course, which was very successful. That'll be repeated. Riza Sultani's been doing a great job with our website. And I was glad to see Diana McIntyre Pike honored as one of the heroes. She is the chapter president of our IIPT Caribbean chapter, which was our first IIPT chapter. And also through Diana's efforts, we dedicated a peace park in Jamaica. It was the first peace park in the Caribbean. And as a result of that, they set up what's called the Manchester Peace Coalition, which has been very, very active in 19 communities of Jamaica, working with at-risk youth, bringing about peace through tourism in each of these communities. So again, Thomas, thank you very much for this honor. Everyone else that has been nominated and selected as a hero, I'm very honored to be here with you, sharing that honor. Thank you all, and in a particular hello and reach out to Taleb Rafai, who supported our efforts for 8 years as Secretary General of the UN World Tourism Organization.
Thank you, Louis, so much, and all the best. Please stay safe in New York. You're in the countryside in New York, and you tell me you like to walk. and the fresh air. It's not all bad in New York. I think where you are, it's quite a socially distant area, and I know you.
Yeah, we're a town of just 40,000, and there hasn't been much of a virus situation. And we have beautiful parks. The parks were designed by the same architects that designed Central Park in New York. So it's really great being back in my hometown.
Yeah, and you lived in Vermont, and Vermont in the United States is the least one of the least effective states when it comes to Corona. So
Yeah,
I guess
yeah.
the peace is following you around, and you deserve it.
Yeah. And before that, for 30 years in Montreal, where we began the Institute, and Canada has an excellent record on handling the coronavirus situation.
May I pledge on to Cuthbert Nikube and the African Tourism Board, to Walter, and of course also to Taleb. Maybe let's talk to Louis and see how we can maybe put another summit together. And I think this is really Louis' wish to have this, and Africa would be such an appropriate place to plan something, to have a peace to tourism summit in Africa. And I think it's something what is worth exploring. And I like to finally, it's like kind of really a routine to give at the end of the event to hear from our friend Dr. Taleb Rifai. But this is a special event, and we actually like to, and I don't know if Taleb even know, but we like to recognize Taleb's achievement in the travel and tourism industry. I know Taleb has received hundreds of nominations and awards from everyone in the world. He has been the tourism hero for so many in this world. He resigned from the World Tourism Organization and is still probably one of the most relevant and influential people in the world tourism industry. And he works tirelessly right now from his home in Jordan, or from wherever he goes, and is involved in so many different initiatives, specifically now in the Project Hope initiative by the African Tourism Board, is making a huge impact in Africa. And of course, he's been on every single event, whether it's nighttime, morning, or evening, for rebuilding.travel. Thank you for your effort and for everything you're doing, Taleb, and congratulations.
Welcome. Thank you so much, Jürgen. You've always been too kind to me. I'm very happy to be with amongst friends here. Everybody that's been awarded here today is a very good friend, and I have great respect to all of them. I'm the least that deserves to be honored here. I truly mean that. I am not somebody that started his life doing tourism. I came into tourism by accident, and I still feel like I am the architect that turned up to work in tourism. But I fell in love with tourism. That's why I'm here with you, guys. Like Edmund Bartlett, I also believe that tourism is important, but more important than tourism is what it does to the lives of people. That's the most important part. That's why I'm here. That's what I always believed in. I don't give a damn about tourism per se. What I care about is what it does to the lives of people all around the world. So thank you so much again, Jorgen. And I'm very, very happy to be here with you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And
Congratulations, Taleb.
we're now 25 minutes over our time, but I think it was a great session. It was so wonderful having all of you on one Zoom screen. So we traveled the world in an hour and a half, and that's pretty good. Like we always do, we like to open maybe just for a few minutes. If anyone has a question or a comment, please raise your hand now. If not, we will come to the end of this event, but you're welcome. Anyone who wanted to say something, just raise your hand, and we'll be giving you the floor for a few minutes. And while I really like to, I always love to hear from Nepal, and I know Deepak was the former chairman of the Nepal Tourism Board and is still very active. Deepak, you should also be a hero, and I'm going to nominate you personally. and see if we have you on the next Hero event. But tell us, how's everything going in Nepal?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Namaste to you all. We are going to reopen our tourism activities, especially trekking and climbing, from October 17. For the domestic movements, we have already started assuring safety protocols. Uh, Everything is going okay, and then we are quite hopeful that very soon we'll be able to welcome you all in Nepal. But about this, the award initiation, I really would like to congratulate the initiatives that you have taken all through this initiatives, because the in normal time we always count about return on investment, but awarding the people who are taking initiatives is really very impactful. So awarding the contributors more than the achievers is always very significant. I mean, the impactful action for sustainable tourism development. So I would like to congratulate all the heroes. You are really inspiring the world. You are really inspiring us. Keep inspiring us. Thank you very much. Happy World Tourism Day. Thank you,
Thank,
Jürgen.
thank you very much, Namid. And also, Mona, thank you so much for being part of it. You're also on the Hero um, evaluation list here. And I think so are many of you. And we hope we can welcome more heroes as we go along. This is just the start of something. And let's make this tourism industry, let's get us back in business somehow and do whatever we need to do to maintain tourism. Meetings are great, but meetings in person are so much nicer. And I love to taste the food in Jordan, Mona, or and better than going to a restaurant and have Jordan food here. So let's
Make sure I'm there. Make sure I'm there, Jürgen.
yes, we do this. And before I'd like to give Peter the last word, I just wanted to remind everyone we will send a copy of this session to everyone. We have been quite successful conforming these, I mean, converting these Zoom sessions into podcasts. So I can tell you when we had the session with Tom Jenkins, we had more than, within 3 hours, more than 15,000 people listening to the podcast. So we're going to do the same here, maybe cut it into various podcasts to give more um, publicity. We're also going to put it on livestream.travel. And of course, we always write about it on eTurbo News. I wanted to thank everyone from my end, from Hawaii, and for being part of our family. And I hope you have a nice rest of World Tourism Day, or if you have a nice night. For some of you, it's late. But Peter, you have the last word, like always.
Well, thank you very much. I want to again congratulate everyone. This was the whole concept of the Tourism Heroes was something that Jürgen and I came up with about 3 or 4 weeks ago when we were talking about that we need to recognize people who don't always get recognized. Many of the people are people that we just don't know. And that's why it's so important that you let us know those people and that we're able to evaluate them, work with them, and give them some of the recognition that's not always known. In just a few hours for me, it will be the Jewish holiday of Yom Kippur, which is the end of the holiday season. And it's a time when people sit back, think about what they've done, the errors we've done, and how we can make the world a better place. And I think that's a wonderful way kind of to end, a way to be able to say that the tourism industry also, this is a wonderful time for us to sit back, think about the difficulties of this last year, what we've done right and what we've done wrong, how we can be better, and how we can make the world a better place. And if we can do that, then the holiday of Yom Kippur and the meaning of tourism come together. And certainly we will be, each of us, people who've made the world, who've worked, who fixed the world and make it a place that we better for future generations. So I want to thank everyone for being here today. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Aloha from Hawaii. Bye-bye. I hope you enjoyed our session on World Tourism Day. We hope to see you again next time. This is Jürgen Steinmetz from livestream.travel. You find more podcasts and more information on livestream.travel. Or, of course, you can read about it at eturbonews.com or Hawaii News Online. Thank you for joining, and aloha from Hawaii.